When they entered the temple, a red-haired girl approached them and said that since she was new she should show her feature panel first. The white-haired man next to her added that if she didn't want to show it to everyone, she just needed to show it to him, and directly entered the Black Feather Guild. His name was Lu Young. The other purple-haired man asked what he meant by that, if he wanted to steal it. The girl mediated their dispute by saying that it was enough to make a fuss and suggested that they first look at the boy's features, and Xuan quietly left their company, but was noticed, and one of them asked what she was doing and if she knew the rules. Xuan remained silent and stared at them. The purple-haired man became angry and told the others to take him away. When one of them tried to attack Truan, he parried and killed him with a single slash of his sword. This greatly surprised the opponents, and one of them shot an arrow, but the defense was able to protect our hero. Seeing this, one of them said that the warrior had the highest defense indicator among all classes, and a single hit from the ball caused more than 6,000 points of damage. After all, he hadn't even changed classes, and the arrow hadn't even caused him any damage. Seeing this, the purple-haired man immediately began to praise, saying that he was very arrogant, and introduced himself as Chenjun of the Nanchuan labor union. If he joined the labor union, they would pay him 200,000 per month. If that wasn't enough, they could come to an agreement later. The red-haired man said that Chen's family offered him nothing and offered him 2 million. He also added that if he joined them, he could choose all the handsome players from their syndicate. The white-haired man also offered to join the guild. If he joined the Black Feather Guild, he would receive 5 million per year, but Juan refused and said that he wasn't interested. Hearing this, the three began to whisper, and the girl asked what kind of man this was. Was he crazy, or was he the son of a family of people who cultivated the dark arts? The purple-haired man replied that such children would trample on them. Asked where he got such an attitude, the white-haired man said that when changing classes there was a possibility that a hidden class would appear, and he followed it. As he approached the center where the classes were changed, he thought that there was no need to choose a regular class, so he would have an advantage over players with hidden classes. Then a sign appears indicating that the entry for the player has been found, and they begin to analyze their characteristics and discuss that the player has not switched classes. The system began to select the most suitable class. Denny's group said that when a player switches classes, the system will suggest class-based characteristics, which may result in the appearance of a hidden class. The purple hair also said that he killed the player who switched classes with one hit, so he must have extraordinary characteristics. She didn't know what hidden classes might be unlocked for her. Then in front of our hero a knight appeared and asked if he wanted to worship the night god and keep knighthood forever in his heart. For that he will receive the title of Paladin. The Paladin of Light will have a unique effect. He will be blessed by God of Light and gain immunity to light magic damage. His defense will be significantly increased when making light magic. There is a chance to increase the skill level. He will be protected by a light box. Then the damage was reduced. She would receive a set of luminous items, but she refused. Everyone was surprised to hear that the knight asked if he was sure of his decision, and he said yes, because he didn't need such a class. To him, he was too weak, and inside his head he thought that those classes were just illusions to teach, and that passive skills weren't as good as awakened god-level talent. One of the players was surprised to say that since the creation of the Complete World program, players with hidden classes are considered a popular virtue. If he didn't need it, could he remove it? Why did she think that he hadn't known his talent for a long time? Because he refused to change his class from the beginning. She unlocked the special talent Joker. With this ability, she can mark multiple classes at the same time and enjoy the special effects of all of them, and she will receive experience points for each class. The ability to have 20 kinds of classes is also a magical ability, he thought, and then the night disappeared and Goddess of Light appeared in its place. One of the players said that the Goddess Veda standardized all the knights mentioned in the fresco, but she was the highest NPC. How can this guy get the highest hidden class? Another player asked. The Goddess of Light said that she felt a pulsating power within him and decided to bless him, asking him to become part of the light. The tablet included a note that he was blessed by the Goddess of Light, and that the goddess sincerely wished him to become a saint of light. A blessing from the Goddess of Light is an extraordinary type of blessing. When the Goddess of Light is present, the player will receive class immunity and deal double damage to famous creatures. And he has entered the Saint class. Rarity is the highest hidden class with unique effects. This contract with the Goddess of Light is the protector of the Goddess of Light, and the player will receive the highest divine power. Players can use all the abilities of the Light class, and the damage depends on the amount of mana spent. Xuan received this in me. I think that in the complete world there are at least 1,000 Light class skills theoretically, as long as he has enough mana. He has the destructive power of the gods in this world. Moreover, he could have 20 classes at once, so there was no reason for him to refuse, and all the gods appeared before him: the king of the dark kingdom of Shira, the lord of life and death, the goddess of war, the lord of elves, and Lord of all magic, they all asked him to join them. Demigod of war has a unique effect. The player can become a defender of the god of battle, and his characteristics change from a power point equivalent to 10 attack points to a power point equivalent to 3 attack points. Every time he fights, his ownership will increase. He will have the opportunity to gain additional stats and experience points. Weapon Divine Golden Wheel of the God of War. Unknown level special items, special abilities. Only the semi-god of war. The god of war can fight with a magical weapon that ignores 90 of the enemy's armor according to him and has the opportunity to repel enemy spells. The Fairy Protector has a unique effect. The player can become the protector of the fairy and his name will be Honor. It is easier to concentrate the power of nature. With each level increase, an additional 10 dexterity points will be added, and elven characteristics will be acquired such as having a bow and arrow. Her age will increase and her charm will also increase. In addition, she can sense the power of nature and gain additional information about different plants. Shadow Shura has a unique effect. Players can become Shura's shadow and gain Shura as powerful powers. She can see weaknesses and make precise attacks, completely ignoring enemy attacks, and her damage is tripled when she is in shadow form. She can use this ability to see through opponents. When she makes transparent attacks, her critical damage is increased by 300%. The Ancient Sage Magician has a unique effect. All the magic used by the player comes from the power of ancient magic. The spells she uses change qualitatively and also increase her power, and she can have the ability to write ancient magic. Her courage characteristic changes from 10 for 1 point of courage and 50 for 1 point of courage, and she can regain 10 every second. Oracle's unique effect. The player will receive the secret of the life of the god of death and become a wandering oracle. In the oracle world, the player will engage in oracle activities. The player can announce the appearance of a creature from the dead that will heal her to a certain extent by using skill. Shuan has received all classes and his life expectancy has increased to 1 year, and he now has the ability to read ancient inscriptions, and he has obtained a characterization plaque. The players were surprised by his appearance and his name seemed familiar to them. He was remembered as the lover of a young woman from the Lin family. The purple-haired man said that the wave of several large families suddenly destroyed several other families, but he still refused to become a follower of several 100 billion. Since then he was nicknamed Untouchable of the Capital. And another man said that he was still not sure whether he was dependent on the Lin family or they were dependent on him. When he left the temple, he thought the zombies and players were still not enough. He thought the zombies and players were still not enough. There must be players in other places, and there seemed to be many secrets hidden in the underground palace. An hour later, he arrived at the place where there was lightning everywhere. While looking at his ring, he remembered how he got the ring of Lost Thunder, and now he could use it, but he didn't know if there would be an amazing effect if he used it. Then a sign appeared saying that the unique effect of this ring was that it was the ring of the thunder god. With it he would be immune to lightning damage in the underground palace. Seeing this, he headed towards the direction the lightning struck, and indeed this ring protected him from lightning. It was his first step out of the thunder pond happened. Hour later, with the speed of his movement, it took a long time, but judging from the map, he had to quickly go to the place he had to go. The map showed that the thunder pond was the dividing line between the two forces. There were goblins on the other side. He headed towards the grand temple, but his path was blocked by 2 stone giants, and suddenly lightning came from the ring. Dan attacked these giants and their power was activated. They were the level 15 guards of the underground palace. Attack 40-03 80,000 defense 500 skills. There is no escape. There is no escape from the attack of the dungeon castle guards, blocking the enemy's way to escape and forcing the enemy to attack. But originally they were the defenders of the dungeon palace of faith, but for unknown reasons they were pushed into a huge pit. If the player kills them, they will receive a dungeon set and a key to secret dungeon realm. She changed her class to Shadow Shura and realized that her characteristics were very high and asked to test her strength. When she used Kirin Arm's equipment skill and activated Shadow Shurstel's skill, she discovered her opponent's weakness. The weak point was in her head. Attacking one of them, she quickly overcame it. 2 monsters appeared behind her. He wanted to attack, but Juan managed to dodge and hit the monster's head with a ball. Since he managed to kill the dungeon castle guards on the left and right, he received a lot of experience points, and instead of monster bodies, dungeon guard armor appeared. There was also the dungeon guard's necklace, boots, and shield of the dungeon guard. Shuan was very happy and thought that it was time to upgrade his equipment. He found a mysterious key to underground palace of belief. The scope of the underground palace had existed for 1,000 years. It was said that the place hid the greatest secrets. By using the key, one could enter the underground palace, but 2 put off discovering the secrets of the underground palace until later. Then suddenly a sound echoed from the temple and all the lightning was Directed there was a sleeping lightning lord, gold rarity level, highest level 30. The other characteristics were hidden by the feature of immunity to physical damage. Shuan couldn't see his health and strength points, and realizing that he was immune to physical damage, he decided to leave here faster. Suddenly the Lightning King jumped from where he stood, and it frightened our heroes so much. The abilities of the Thunder Kings were Thunderous Thunder and Thunderfield attacks with powers 4000 and 03350,000. Rosa, the mistress of the Lightning Lord, sent a huge bolt of lightning at Schumann, but our hero Spruce managed to escape the blow. The Lightning Lord's body turned into an animal and started chasing our hero. He was surprised at how such a large body could move at such a high speed. He thought there must be a border on the map ahead, and he had to hurry. He chewed and barely made it out of the dungeon zone and didn't let the monster cross the border. The Thunder God stared angrily at the sky and yelled at Vera that he had imprisoned her for years and still hadn't released her, slamming her with full force into the border of the dungeon. He shouted in anger that he would kill her and kill everyone. Schumann wondered if she was the founder of the underground palace, and deciding that enough was enough for today, he headed in the opposite direction. An hour later, among the trees, Schumann thought that it was a bit shocking to look at the underground virgin forest and see people petrified in place and all turned to stone. Schumann realized that the people were turned to stone in a strange way, and then a huge snake came out from deep in the ground. Schumann, who was tired, realized that he had just confronted the god of thunder, and then a huge disgusting snake appeared. The snake won't even give you a break. The snake looked up at the sky and howled loudly, and Schumann heard the sound of goblins. Then several goblins appeared behind it and started attacking it. Schumann realized that this snake could summon goblins, but now they were just experience points for him. While fighting the monsters, the snake tried to attack him, but he hit it first with his strength and found that the snake was much weaker than he thought. Smiling mischievously, he realized that there were now only the soldiers left. Seeing her smile, the goblins were horrified but still continued to attack her. During this time, he observed the player's spirit alone and realized that he was worried and thought it would be advantageous to follow people with special classes, but they all joined together to defeat a big snake, and he was stuck here and wasted his time in vain. The girl told him that she had gained experience and she didn't expect them to meet this soon. All the special class players were gathered together when Tuck approached him and said that he was exploring the neighborhood when he left the square but couldn't find his way out, and asked how he got here. Chuan replied that he went into another place and passed through the lightning pond. The other players got angry and told him to stop playing around. All the Thunders died on contact, and some of their people were already waiting to be reborn. The player who gained immortality said that he couldn't even take a single step. Even though he was immortal, he said that if they didn't believe him, then let them take him away. Hearing this, all the players got angry and said, "What kind of attitude is this? Don't be so selfish with him and tell him if he knows another way." Chuan said he knew a way out, but he didn't want to talk and what they would do to help themselves and how they could help him. In addition, this game supports popularity. If someone makes too much noise, they will kill him, and everyone is silent. In the safe, the girl with her brother said that even the 6 families of the Magic Mountain couldn't convince her, so let them forget it. They wouldn't make it. They were ready to fight to the death with the Lin family if a single hair fell from their heads, to which the others replied that they wondered why her name sounded so familiar. That was why, but his friends stopped him, saying that in this game they could be reborn after death in a new reality if they fell under the supervision of the big family. They would definitely be destroyed. She replied darkly that he didn't need his protection. He had his own choices and his own path, and he had his own choices and went in another direction. The girl approached him and said that King Zio missed her and there was no great hatred between them. She was quite brave, but she was honest with him, and added that she almost gave up her family because of him. But these were 6 big families that had been hiding in Magic City all this time just because she was involved with him. The man replied that he knew she treated him well, but he didn't like that kind of togetherness. It wasn't easy being a son-in-law. Then the man remembered his past. He had always thought that he would live a happy and full life with the woman, but after graduating, the woman finally revealed her true identity as heiress of the Berlin family. He did not make demands on them. He asked them to join the family, but he did not obey anyone's orders and could not accept the changes in her. But most importantly, he could not accept that she spent 3 years by his side day and night, and in the end she turned into an actress. He decides to end his relationship with the woman, and then he returns to the real world and asks his brother Jin what is wrong with them. Xuan said that they were going down the stairs, and halfway down the stairs had collapsed. His group fell from the sky into the forest. They cut down the trees growing around to make a boat and cross the swamp, but they were repeatedly attacked by huge snakes and goblins waiting nearby. They had to join the others. The snake was very ferocious, but Juan managed to kill it in one though. He asked Huan what happened to him during their time apart. Suchu told the Wu brothers what had happened, including the fact that he could choose different classes but still hid how god-level abilities had awakened in him, and he told them that he hadn't expected to find them behind the thunder pool. Jiang replied that Chuan had such an exciting adventure he even felt envious of her. When asked if now that the snake was dead he could see it, Xuan told him to wait here and he would cut the light from the trees with his titan power. He cut down a very large tree and told the boy to rest first, as he had the skill of making crafts. Let him try it. Before long Xuan managed to make a boat. The boat was made of Brown's rare wood level 5 and had a special effect of being able to swim through the swamp without sinking. Brother Chuan said that he didn't expect Xuan to have this skill, as it took her much longer. He extended his hand to them and told them to come with him. The three of them swam through the swamp. Huan told them to be careful as there was poison there and it was toxic. They covered their faces with handkerchiefs to avoid being poisoned. Chuan said that this was the first time he had seen a game that made players fall into traps like that, and after the launch it looked like the women wouldn't want to come back to the game. Jing told him that it's not that simple. Since virtual currency is connected to real money, people can use it to survive. And how does he think the meaning of life is here? Besides, it might be too late to leave. In his opinion, Chuan asked if he knew anything. As he thought it was too late to leave, he answered no, but he heard from people all over the world that this was an unusual game. It concerned the fate of the Dragon Kingdom and even the entire world. Xuan was shocked and wondered if the game could decide the fate of the world. She would never have believed it before. Since the age of 23, each of them had had a smart ship since birth, which was as important as their identity. But since entering the game, he had not received any news from the real world for a long time. If he had completely transmigrated to another world, he tried to log out, but to no avail. At first he thought it was a bug or that it was impossible to leave the game in the middle of the dungeon, but now it seemed like it was no accident. And then they reached the mainland. Xuan still thinks that, judging from the map, this is the westernmost part of the underground palace. But there should be a city here. Why is there only a dense forest here? Or maybe a city was built in the forest. The girl asked if there were goblins here, and Chuan told them to be vigilant. They were on their way. Zhang uses his giant body, and Chu activates his spear. Brother Chuan attacked them and asked why there were so many of them, their entire army. His brother replied that they had entered their territory. Shin said that they had to find a way to break through the goblin army. The goblin army attack was built to perform an attack that caused 50 units of non-selective damage to enemy. They barely managed to evade the goblin army, and Chuan wondered how the goblins could use abilities and do 5,000 damage. Even he couldn't accept it. And then he saw the goblins and the trees aiming at them, and he wanted to shoot them with a bow, but they managed to escape into the forest as Chuan ran. I'll think about whether the map is correct, so if they move in this direction they'll see the castle soon. The secret zone should be here. When the bow shot towards them again, Chuan deactivated the shield of light. Chuan thought that he could not only easily see the huge snake but also exert an effect on his teammates. He had an incredible amount of achievements. When they left here, he decided to put her on the list of important people to the Wu family. The humans shouted to them that there was a way out ahead. Then he found a castle with the Goblin King standing on it. Chainwen wondered how such a big castle could be hidden in the forest. The Goblin King asked why they invaded his kingdom. Goblin King level 2503, defense 200, 0 attack power 300, skills turn the land into a swamp. Lightning descent ice wave power, turning the land into a swamp, can forever turn a piece of land into a place for voracious creatures and produce new goblins. Lightning descent, if he wears the crown of the Lightning King, can continuously summon lightning to strike the target, causing 1,000 points of damage. The power of the ice wave can absorb the power of the cold wave and freeze a large area in front of it, causing fainting for 2 seconds. There is a chance to turn enemies into crazy zombies. A hidden mission was launched for Chuan to defeat the miser of the underground palace of faith. The girl was surprised to see how goblins could talk to humans, and the reward she would receive: the crown of the Lord of Thunder, full of experience points. Finding the real underground palace of faith, Chuan smiled and said that miser was the cute Goblin King above the city and jumped to kill him. The Goblin King saw the ring in his hand and realized that Chuan was with Kelder and ordered his subordinates to kill him. When he jumped at Chuan, he killed him with a spear blow, causing 50,000 points of damage to him. Chuan and his sister were surprised by her strength. The Goblin King, seeing that he had been defeated, bowed to Chuan and begged him not to kill him, and for that he would give him treasures, and revealed to him the secrets of the underground palace of faith that humans saw on the tablet. She says that she has defeated the goblins and asks what secrets he knows, and if he lies to her the consequences will be dire. The Goblin King said that he had been there for 1,000 years and would not dare lie to him. Then he began to tell that a long time ago Vera's underground palace was not called the Underground Palace, but a dark cave. There were goblins, human criminals, various kinds of dark creatures. The territory was mostly divided between races, but there were occasional conflicts that reached a balance. At some point, a woman named Vera arrived and completely destroyed the balance of dungeon. She unified the underground palace with her overwhelming power and ordered the creatures to build the palace. They built altars one after another, hidden places inside the dungeon. Every few hundred years, the altars were connected to the surface and attracted warriors from various worlds. Villains would rise to the surface and become targets to kill and train these warriors.